A very good evening. Welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Ashinsani Veerasinghe. Let's have a look at the headlines first. Second COVID-19 inflicted Sri Lankan discharged after a full recovery. Global economic outlook for 2020 is negative, but rebound in 2021 can be expected, IMF stresses. News in detail. Health Minister Pavitra Wanyarachi announced that not a single positive case of COVID-19 was reported until 4:30 p.m. today. However, she also warned Sri Lankans who failed to maintain the 1 meter distance at the public areas when the curfew was lifted yesterday. Addressing the same media briefing, Health Services Director General Dr. Anil Jasinghe said that the government has made arrangements to provide essentials such as vegetables, dry food rations, medicine and gas to the doorstep of the general public.
විශේෂයෙන්ම අද ලෝක තත්ත්වය දිහා බලපුවම කොරෝනා රෝගීන් ලක්ෂ ගණනින් දවස් 3-4ට වැඩි වෙමින් පවතිනවා. නමුත් දෙයියන්ගේ පිහිටෙන් අද මේ අප කතා කරන අවස්ථාව වෙන විට අද දවසේ කොරෝනා රෝගය වැළඳී ඇති අය විදිහට අද දිනේදී එක්කෙනෙක්වත් තහවුරු වෙලා නැහැ. මට දැනෙන දේ තවමත් සමහරු අපි කියන දේ අහන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ නිසා මේ තත්ත්වය අවුල් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මේ තත්ත්වය ආය නරක තත්ත්වයට හැරෙන්න පුළුවන්.
රජය තීරණයක යෙදিলা තියෙනවා මෙම කාලය තුල ඉදිරියේදී හැකිතරම් මේ ජනතාව ඉන්න නිවෙස් අසලට යම් යම් සේවා ගෙනීම සඳහා. එහිදී ආහාර සේවා, ඒ වගේම ඖෂධ, ඒ වගේම රජයේ රෝහල් වල සායනවල ලියාපදිංචි වී ඇති අයගේ ඖෂධ, ඒ වගේම පෞද්ගලික ඖෂධ ශාලා වලින් මිලදී ගන්නා ඖෂධ, ඒ සියල්ල එක්තරා ආකාරයකට ජනතාව වෙත ළඟට ගිහිල්ලා ලබා දෙන ආකාරයක් ගැන සාකච්ඡා වුණා. එය ගරු බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාගේ ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන් මේ කටයුත්ත දැන් ඉදිරියට කරගෙන යාමට නියමිතයි.
Another COVID-19 inflicted patient was discharged from the Infectious Diseases Hospital in Anguda today after a full recovery. Meanwhile, another group of 201 individuals who had been at the Kandakadu and Poonani quarantine centres were released from the quarantine process today. Accordingly, another patient who tested positive for the novel coronavirus has recovered from the disease and was discharged from the Infectious Diseases Hospital today. Thus, 3 individuals, including the Chinese lady, have recovered from the novel coronavirus. The first Sri Lankan who tested positive for COVID-19 was discharged from the IDH after making a complete recovery on last Monday. Thus, the total number of confirmed novel coronavirus cases within the country has already surpassed 100, while 250 persons are under observation at the moment. On the other hand, second batch of people who were at the quarantine centres were released from the quarantine process today. Sri Lanka Army stated that 57 persons from the Poonani quarantine centre and 144 from the Kandakadu quarantine centre were sent home today. The first batch of 311 persons left the quarantine centres yesterday after completing the 14-day quarantine process. Meanwhile, over 3,500 persons had been arrested on charges of violating the island-wide police curfew currently in effect and for committing other offences during curfew hours. Senior DIG Ajit Rohana confirmed that 3,700 individuals were arrested as of 6 a.m. today. Police had also arrested a total of 702 vehicles, including motorcycles and three-wheelers. Senior DIG Ajit Rohan added that some individuals were produced before the magistrates in their relevant areas, while others were granted police bail. The island-wide police curfew is in effect until further notice in the Colombo, Gampaha and Kalutara districts, which were identified as high-risk areas for the spread of the coronavirus. Meanwhile, the police curfew in the other districts will be in effect till 6 a.m. tomorrow and will be reimposed again at 12 noon the same day. The novel coronavirus or COVID-19 is accelerating since the confirmed worldwide COVID-19 cases have surpassed 400,000 along with more than 18,000 deaths reported. Meanwhile, World Health Organization warns that the USA could become the next epicenter for novel coronavirus. Accordingly, the statistics show that more than 400,000 confirmed coronavirus cases are identified globally, with more than 18,000 deaths reported. As of today morning, 109,102 patients have been recovered globally. As of today, countries such as China, Italy and USA have the highest number of coronavirus cases. The death toll in Italy went up by 743 yesterday, the second highest daily tally since the outbreak emerged in northern regions on February 21st, after more encouraging numbers in the previous 2 days. Meanwhile, WHO spokesperson Margaret Harris says the US could become the new epicenter of the global coronavirus pandemic as the case numbers are rising quickly. As of today morning, more than 54,000 coronavirus cases have been reported in the USA. Meanwhile, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo yesterday pleaded for more medical supplies, warning that COVID-19 is spreading in his state faster. The apex is higher than we thought and the apex is sooner than we thought, Cuomo told reporters yesterday. Subsequently, the second most populous country and the most populous democracy in the world, India, is under a 21-day nationwide lockdown starting from yesterday midnight. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi warned that if these 21 days are not observed as a lockdown, it will take India back to 21 years. Managing Director of International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva stresses that the global growth outlook for this year is negative, with a recession at least as bad as during the global financial crisis or worse. However, following a recent conference call with G20 finance ministers and central bank governors, Kristalina Georgieva said that a recovery in 2021 can be expected if governments prioritize containing the coronavirus crisis and strengthen health systems everywhere.
First, the outlook for global growth. For 2020, it is negative. A recession at least as bad as during the global financial crisis or worse. But we expect recovery in 2021. To get to it, it is paramount to prioritize containment and strengthen health systems everywhere. My second point is that advanced economies are generally in a better position to respond to the crisis, but many emerging markets and low-income countries face significant challenges. They are badly affected by outward capital flows, and domestic activity will be severely impacted as countries respond to the epidemic. Investors have already pulled $83 billion from emerging markets since the beginning of the crisis, the largest capital outflow ever recorded. And we are particularly concerned about low-income countries in that distress, an issue on which we are working closely with the World Bank.
Speaking further, IMF MD Kristalina Georgieva rolled out the key measures taken by IMF to recuperate the global economy. Georgieva added that IMF is concentrating bilateral and multilateral surveillance on this crisis and policy actions to combat its impact. She also added that IMF is replenishing the catastrophic containment and relief trust to help the poorest countries and welcomed the pledges already made and call on others to join.
We are concentrating bilateral and multilateral surveillance on this crisis and policy actions to temper its impact. We will massively step up emergency finance. Nearly 80 countries are requesting our help, and we are working closely with the other international financial institutions to provide a strong, coordinated response for largest possible impact. We are replenishing the Catastrophe Containment and Relief Trust to help the poorest countries. We welcome those who have already made pledges and call on others to join. And we stand ready to deploy all our $1 trillion lending capacity. But we are not stopping there. We are looking at other available options. Several low and middle-income countries have asked the IMF to make a SDR allocation, as we did during the global financial crisis, and we are exploring this option with our membership. Major central banks have initiated bilateral swap lines with emerging market countries. As a global liquidity crunch takes hold, we need members to provide additional swap lines.
Stay tuned for more news after this short break. Welcome back after the break. Frontline Socialist Party says that the government has taken the operation to combat the COVID-19 outbreak to the level of another civil war, and that cannot be accepted. Addressing the media, its Politburo member Duminda Nagamu says that the operation should be a humanitarian mission to save all affected and the unaffected. Frontline Socialist Party Politburo member Duminda Nagamu, in a media briefing held in Colombo today, said that the government must take immediate measures to provide transport facilities to all the health sector employees who are in a tough mission of controlling the spread of virus. Nagamu said that no one will accept the behavior by the police at the Anuradhapura prison premises where 2 individuals were succumbed to death. He added that the government considered the fight against COVID-19 as another civil war and all affected patients as terrorists. He added that this situation should be changed and it should have a humanitarian way. He also added the Cuban government allowed the British cruise ship, which was rejected by Caribbean port officials for weeks, to dock in Cuba and to unload more than 1,000 people on board, including 5 with confirmed cases of the novel coronavirus. Nagamu added that there must be a way to handle a situation like this. Meanwhile, JVP leader Anurakumar Dissanayake appreciates the government's effort to combat the COVID-19 outbreak in the country. Making a special statement today via his Facebook page, JVP leader said that the government mechanism is taking its decision in an appreciable level. Former parliamentarian Anurakumar Dissanayake says that COVID-19 has already attacked a number of powerful countries and that the Sri Lankan government can't alone face the issue. He stresses that political movements, independent and civil organizations and all the citizens have a responsibility to play while the government becomes the front runner. Addressing the issues faced by the general public, he suggested the government to make sure to have a structured distribution method of essential goods. He also suggested the government to make sure people are receiving medicines according to their requirement. He also said that party's Politburo member Vijitha Herath has also forwarded party's proposals at the all-party meeting with Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa yesterday. The JVP leader also said that the meeting with the Prime Minister should not limit to a meeting and that a technical committee should work on the selected proposals, transforming those into actions. He also suggested the government to continue the dialogue with the party leaders in a proper mechanism in the future. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa yesterday directed legal experts and the Department of Prisons to look into ways of granting some relief to the prisoners who were charged with minor offences and those who are unable to meet their bail conditions. The President issued the instructions during a meeting held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday with members of the committee appointed to make recommendations on the possibility of providing legal redress for the prisoners who had committed minor offences. President's Media Division also reminds that steps were taken to provide relief to the inmates by the President at an earlier occasion. As instructed by the President, the committee is scheduled to meet the President again tomorrow to submit their recommendations on granting legal relief for inmates who are currently unable to pay fines or pay the bail money or produce personal bail. The committee of lawyers consists of officials of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka and the Department of Prisons. Commissioner General of Prisons Jayasiri Tennakone, Director General of Legal Affairs of the Presidential Secretariat Harigupta Rohanadira, Deputy Commissioner of Prisons Venura Gunawardana, President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, President's Council Kalinga Indathissa, BASL Secretary Kaushalya Navaratna and several others participated in the meeting. The report of the Department of Census and Statistics shows that the headline inflation as measured by the year-on-year change in the National Consumer Price Index increased to 8.1% in February this year from 7.6% in this January. Accordingly, the report shows that the food inflation stood at 16.3% in February this year, while non-food inflation recorded at 2.1%. The change in the NCPI measured on an annual average basis increased to 4.5% in February 2020 from 4.1% in January 2020. Monthly change of NCPI recorded at 0% in February 2020. This was due to setting off the price effects of items in the non-food category, which increased by 0.05%, with the prices decrease in the food category by the same magnitude. Within the non-food category, prices of the items in alcoholic beverages and tobacco, transport and clothing and footwear subcategories recorded increase. Continuing its decreasing trend for the fourth consecutive month, the core inflation decreased to 3.4% in February 2020 from 3.9% in January this year. An annual average core inflation decreased marginally to 5.5% in February 2020 from 5.6% in January 2020. With that, we are wrapping up today's news. We know at present social distancing is not a matter of choice. Let's all act responsibly, protect yourself and others. Stay home, stay safe. Join us tomorrow on State of Business at the same time. Until then, take care. Good night.